Course 3, Geometry today in Lesson 18, learning lines and angles. This might be some review. Certainly is for me. Sorry if I go kind of fast. You can always rewrite this or read more to yourself. There's also some great videos you can find online. I'm sure you just search lines, angles, geometry for middle school. You'll get some great videos that hopefully are a little slower. But, a line means that it's not just, it just means straight or like that, but it means it's going in math. It means the concept is infinite in both directions. So that's why you have to draw arrows on your lines. Whereas a ray has an end point, which we show with like a dot, and then it goes off into endless direction one way. Okay, and that can be in any direction, right? A ray might look like that. A line might look like this. Hey, they might even be what we call perpendicular to each other, which means that if I measured this, it's a 90-degree or right angle. A segment means end point, kind of like a dumbbell. A segment's like a dumbbell. And it clearly ends there, and we might even label it as A, B, segment, talking about it, AB is what we would do. You could also call it BA, doesn't matter the order. Notice how we can put dots on a line and label those dots so that we can refer to the line. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to talk about this line, isn't it? A plane, like a coordinate plane, is a flat surface where we're working on our geometry, and technically, the surface in theory is going on without end, but since we can't really recreate that, we do have a sheet of paper that ends. When lines cross, it means they intersect. If they never cross, we call it parallel. They cross, but at a perfect 90-degree angle, it's called two lines that are perpendicular. Anything else, any lines that are in different planes won't intersect. They're called skew lines. A wall and a ceiling represent two different planes. You cannot draw a line on one that will cross a line on the other. They are skew. When you intersect lines, you form an angle. It might be 90 degrees, might not be. They meet at what's called a vertex. That is this point right here. A vertex is where the two lines meet, and you can measure that using a fun tool called a protractor. Why don't you grab that, pause the video, and make sure you've got one for the rest of this lesson. A protractor is a school supply that tells you the measure of angles. Maybe this measure is 30 degrees. Go ahead. You can check my estimate using your protractor right on the book or the screen here. And just a fun geometry concept. If these lines are straight indeed, then these two angles are going to be bing, bing, equal. Same as these two. Now, by the way, notice, is this more or less than a perpendicular 90-degree angle? It's going to be less than 90. So we call that acute. Less than 90 degrees is acute angle. Oh, it's so cute. It's so small, right? Well, more than 90 degrees, talking these big spread out guys, that'd be called obtuse. You remember this. Okay, and when we measure, I kind of already used the word, our label is degrees. You can use this little one like when we do temperature, or you can write it out as degrees. A circle is interesting because when we bisect a circle with perpendicular lines and then we measure these angles, we would find, you get your 90 degrees here, and that would happen all the way around. And 90 times 4 is 360. That's why we say when you turn around, you pull a full 360. 360 degrees inside a full turn. If I turn my body all the way around, I've turned 360 degrees if I measured it on my protractor. Straight angle means 180 degrees. Right angle we talked about, 90 degrees. Two angles together form a straight angle. That's called a linear pair, as in angle number 1 and angle number 2 maybe. 1, 2, add them together. It's a straight angle. It's 180 degrees. Right? Talked about protractors. That's a huge skill to get used to and be able to master using. So you line up your protractor, this part right here, with the bottom, the line, whatever bottom line you're going to use. You could use this one too, and you'll end up with the same answer. But we're using this bottom one here. Make sure that's lined up. Make sure this is on 0 right here. Okay, and then this should be crossing through a 0 point. And if it's less than 90, right, it's an acute angle, that means we're measuring on this side. Because notice, what would be wrong with using this one? That's for if we had a line with the bottom over here, and we were measuring this angle, which is obtuse. We're measuring this angle, this acute angle. So we will use the smaller than 90 numbers, like 50 or 30. And it looks like it's going right through 50 degrees here. So this angle is 50 degrees. That's all you need for a label. Okay, I mean, I guess you can do some of these problems. They don't even make it that difficult. You don't have to measure much. Why don't you do F through J, though? Get some real good solid.